This is Simon with Caddis Fly Shop, an Oregon fly fishing blog, and it is hopper time. Late summer, if you're walking through the grass and stuff, I'm sure you're kicking up tons of them on the riverbank, and as we all know, they're pretty clumsy flyers and often end up in the river, and the trout start to take notice. And generally, it's not right away when the hoppers show up that they get keyed in on them. Generally, about this time of year, they really start to notice hoppers ending up in the river, and it really depends on where you live, how brushy the banks are, how big the river is. It depends on a lot of factors, but generally about this time of year into the fall is the time of year that we like to call hopper season, and fishing grasshoppers is a huge deal. I have a really awesome hopper pattern here for you guys today that has big legs in the back that kind of kick out, and it's an extended body pattern. It works really good. I've used this platform to tie several different extended body large bugs like stones and salmon flies. So for me, this is not a very new fly, but I've kind of just turned it into a hopper with some big legs and back. So I know this thing works very well, and I know it works extremely well as a hopper because I've used it in years past. So come on, take a close look, and I'll show you how to tie this one. It's a lot easier to tie than it looks. So looking more closely at this guy, you can see he's got a little bit of a segmented extended body back here, two big legs to really drive the point home that this is a hopper. And some people actually strip their hoppers a little bit, because if you've ever seen a hopper fall in the water, they kind of kick, and these legs will kick a little bit as you strip. And you've got a big legs up here, and then you know, a nice segmented body in the bottom with a large wing and a little hot spot right here, so you can see it. So you're more than welcome to do pink or orange or something. I just chose green because I had it around, but everyone's eyes see colors differently. Some people really like the green oro. I'm somebody who the green oro works kind of good, but this is a different shade of green, so this one works for me. But you may find that doing orange hot spot's better for you, or pink, or maybe no hot spot. Another thing is the Scientific Angler's indicator markers for Euro nymphing are a great way to color up a chubby wing. And make anything high vis. So you could also just do it in white and add high vis as you need. So it looks kind of complex. It's easier than it looks, and I'll show you how it's done. It's not that bad. Starting off here, we have an Ahrex hook, and it is the Sedge Dry Barbless FW 531 in a 10. And I'm not thinking right now. That's the hook we're going to use, but we need to make the extended body first. So what this is this is the Stonefall extended body tool. It makes it really easy to make extended bodies. There's other methods to do it, but this lodges itself into the vise really well. So to start, we're going to take some of our thread, which is Semperfli Nano Silk right here, and we're going to just start it right here. That's all you need to worry about. You're just starting the thread and clipping the tag. And then next, you take your piece of foam. So for these are two pieces, one for the Instagram video, one for the YouTube short / Instagram reel. And what we're going to do is, let me measure for you guys. They're a little bit smaller than a 1/4 inch. And what you're going to do is you're going to pierce it about right in the middle of it. So an easy thing to do is you can fold it in half like this, and then you're going to pierce the back. If you need to use a bodkin to help blow a hole in the back, you can. But once you have pierced the back like this, you will create one segment like this. And that's how you make your first segment. Then the second segment, what you have to do is, I'll do it sideways for you guys, is you slide it between like this, and then under this, and then now you can make your second segment without the thread showing up. So we're only making this one 2 segments. I did it when I was kind of working out the proportions of this for a while. I was doing 3, and I just don't think it looks as good, and it can get in the way of the hook set. So that's all we're doing for the extended body. So real easy. Extended bodies are really easy to make, and now what you have once we do a whip finish here is you have a nice extended body that you just stick on your hook. So it's, like I said, it's a lot of people look at that fly and they're like, I could never do that. And sure you can, if you have somebody that kind of makes it easy for you. It's not that hard. So I did 2 whip finishes here. And then I have a little tag of foam here I want to take off. Get that later, but that's pretty much it. Now you have your extended body for the rest of the fly, and just to make sure things are locked in, we could take a little bit of Solarez right here, bone dry or glue of sorts. Be careful what glue you use, because some glue melts foam, but bone dry does not. And I know Loctite is pretty safe too. Is you can just cure this up and then really make sure that these thread wraps don't come undone. And if you really want, you can put it on the back too. But normally this doesn't get beat up too bad. The foam takes the bulk of the abuse. So now what you do is you just pinch and slide, and now you've got your extended body just like that. It's nice and easy. So now, rewind to what I was saying before. We've got an Ahrex hook here. It's a size 10. It is the Sedge Dry right here, and it is the 530 number 10 Sedge Dry. And what we're going to do is you kind of want to make sure it's straight like that, like the back straight. And first, as always, we got to lay down a thread layer. And right now I'm using Nano Silk. This is a good thread for this because you can crank on the foam. Don't crank too hard, and you got to be careful what foam you're using too. I'll show you guys what I used. I did forget to show you guys that. This is the 2 millimeter high float foam Hopper Tan, and this is the I think they call it open cell foam. It has little sparkly bits that the camera might pick up, and those are all little like almost like bubbles in it. And this foam, you're able to crimp down on it without totally popping it and splitting it. Cheaper foam will split, and that's why this foam's really good, and it floats better, and it's more durable. So there's many reasons why it's better, but that's why I like it more, at least. It's really good. And then what we're going to do now is we need to lay down a layer of dubbing, which is not super important for much other than when you make an extended body like this and lay it down on the shank, it's going to want to slip around, and your whole body's going to spin and slip, and it's just not what you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay down a layer of dubbing, and that'll give the foam something to bite into, which in turn will make sure that our body doesn't slide all over the place, you know, once it's done or while we're tying. So right now, this is a blend of excuse me, 2 colors to match the foam, but you really don't need to get the color that close because this is all going to be hidden. But what we're doing right now is we're just giving the foam a base to sit on. If you really want, you can lay down a little bit of glue also. You can't really do resin because the light won't be able to get to it to cure it, but you can lay down a little bit of glue, and I will lay down just one little dollop of glue where the extended body meets the rest of the fly. Okay, so now we've got this great base right here, and then we've got our extended body right here, so we've got to figure out how to put it on. So you'll see if you flip it open, you've got a little tag and a thread here. If you want, you can clip it off. If you don't clip it off, just make sure it's not hanging out of the side of your fly. But this extended body is going to sit right on the end like this. So to get it on, we need to take the hook off, and here we have our extended body, and you are going to just pierce the foam fairly close to that second segment, and then you can see right here, if you slide it up, now you've got your extended body that fits on right there, but you need to pierce it fairly close. Like right there, I honestly am going to get a little bit closer just so it looks a little bit better. That's the key, is just to get close if you can. So I'm going to get a little bit closer so that segment just sits on there a little bit better. There, that's much better. Now you can see that body really wants to sit on there a little bit better. And so now, got to make sure your hook's straight, and then we will move our thread back to where we're going to make that next segment, And then you can take a little bit of Loctite, is safe for foam. And you can just take a little dollop of Loctite here on the body where you're putting the first segment, and that'll make sure it doesn't go anywhere. I prefer Loctite over Zap-A-Gap, mainly because I can get through a whole bottle of Loctite without the cap totally gluing to itself, but I do know that certain types of Zap-A-Gap do melt foam, so that is a no-go for this. To my knowledge, I don't use Zap-A-Gap, so I can't tell you for sure that it doesn't work, but do just be careful if you are thinking of doing that. So here we've got our first segment right here, right? And then on our next segment, we're going to do one more segment, and then we will put in our rear legs. So we're going to do the same thing where we split it here to come forward. As you can see, my thread came in between, and that's how I don't, crisscross or make messy turn segments. And so here, and then if you want, you can do one more little dollop of glue. It's not really necessary when I tie them personally. I don't always do the glue and they stay together pretty well, but I'm going to do it the right way for you guys today here. And so right here, we've got our second segment right here. And as long as they're even, when you pinch it down, it'll look good. And so right here, we've got our second segment, and so now we need to make these legs. And to make these legs, we're going to have to pan the camera down, and I'll show you guys how to do it. It's pretty much just thin pieces of foam, and then you run little bits of rubber through them. So here we've got our two pieces of foam. This will make up our legs, and then this will make up the actual rubber section of the legs. I have two things of fine round rubber legs that are knotted, and you need to take a bodkin, and you can see there's a fat way and a tall way. And if when I cut out of the whole sheet, I cut like this. So this is how thick it is. So this is 2 millimeters, and we're going to want to punch through the skinnier of the sides or the taller of the sides. So what we're going to do is you take your bodkin, and then you just blast a hole in the top like this. And it's fine if you have a little bit of overhang on the back. But you can see now we've ran a hole through our bodkin right here. Next, what we need to do is we need to take a bobbin threader like this, run it through here, and then you're going to take one of these knotted legs when it's through, and then we are going to pull it back through. And the knot is the stopper on the top, that's why you tie a knot. And now you've got your extended leg right here, just like that. And then we're going to mark it up with a marker. We're going to put a couple of stripes on it, but that's the main idea. You're going to clip off the top, and then we are going to put a dot of Loctite on the top just to glue it so it doesn't go anywhere. So now that we've got our legs done, what we're going to do is we're going to pinch them in like this. And I like to have them a little bit shorter than the rest of the body. And this is the key part, is if your leg pinches and it's like cocked up or down, it's because it's sat weird. You seated it weird with the thread. So you got to make sure it's just going a little bit off the body like this, and it's going to be a tad bit long. And as you can see, I barred the leg. That's something that I like to do, but you really don't have to. If your hoppers look different in your area, you don't need to make them like this. But that's how you make the nice legs. And so you can see we've got this extra piece of foam up here, which what we're going to do is we're going to kind of split the thread and carefully get it back on the center here. And we're going to take our legs and just kind of pinch them in like this along the side. And this is just a very clean way to kind of tuck those legs in and get them out of your way. And now you can clip the rest, and we're just going to clamp down all that foam. If anything, it'll just add more buoyancy to the fly. And so see, now it kind of nicely tucks in. We're going to make the next segment, toss on the wings and the other legs, and we're done. just like that. So you can see the legs kind of just tuck themselves nicely into there. You can also just leave a little piece sticking out, but I like to make it look a little bit cleaner if I can. At this point, I like to, you know, I'll save it for the end. Generally about halfway through is when I kind of take a break and mark up the rest of the fly color-wise, but you could always do that after. So what we're going to do now is we're going to tie on some of this widow's web. It makes just absolutely great wings. There isn't a better material for like a big buoyant wing. And we're going to tie it in just a tiny little bit like this. And really I'm going to try my best to leave the least amount poking out at the end, and I'll try to trim some of it off. Just a little bit shorter than the tail at this last segment is where I'm going to pop this wing. Just like that. And now you've got a nice wing here. It'll give you some extra buoyancy, and we are going to take a little smidge of this green widow's web as well as a hot spot. And again, trimming these ends is huge to getting a very clean transition from you know, where this wing gets tied in, because we are going to kind of tie over this, and the less bulk you can have down there, the better. So now we've got our little hot spot there. Next is legs. The tough thing with legs is if you do them before the wing step, they're going to kind of cock out and look funny. They'll be all uneven, so you really got to do it after the wing. And so I'm taking a medium orange barred sexy floss leg and cut it in half. And that's the perfect length for these guys. And then this other half's going to go on the other side. And just like that, you can have them seat right. And now if you want, and this is what I do, is I try to trim some of this excess widow's web off here, just to make a really clean transition, not have anything poking out on me. You really don't have to do this. Fish probably don't care that much, but it's something I like to do. So as long as that's really locked in, we don't want that going anywhere. You can even throw a whip finish on at this point because you're in the home stretch. You don't want anything else to happen to this. We're going to move our thread back down to the bottom like we've been doing. And this top piece we're going to kind of clamp down, just like right behind the eyelet. And then we're going to trim it like that. And now I'm going to pull some of this stuff back so you can see what I'm doing. You can see the top piece I have now cut off, and now I have an extra long bottom piece. So we're going to flip this over if you have a rotary vise. This is the beauty of having a rotary vise. And then we are going to take our bodkin, needle, anything. We're going to measure where the eyelet ends, and we're going to blast a hole right in it. Just like that. And then we are going to make a wrap right here. Kind of get it all straight, and then as you pull this up and over, you can see the eyelet reveals itself through the head, and then we're going to bring our thread back up to where the wings are, and then we pull this foam back over, and now you have a nice little eyelet that peeks right out from the hopper's head, and it looks really, really clean if you do it right. And this one turned out pretty good. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to trim that just like that. And now we've got a nice little head, and all we got to do is whip finish. I like to whip finish behind here, just because it's a little more protected from the fish beating it up, and it kicks that little foam piece up also. So I'll add a couple of whip finishes in there, and then we'll put in a little bit of resin on this thing and mark it up. Make it look a little more natural, and then you've got a awesome hopper to go smash with. Alright, so we've got our... This hopper's pretty much done right now. We're going to trim these legs down to the right length. And then... So now we've got our little legs. What I like to do is I like to put one dot on each segment here on either side of black. You can add eyes on his head if you want. And then I like to use this, I think this is pale sepia. This is kind of like a yellow Copic marker here on the bottom. Kind of make the belly look more yellow. And the bottom of the legs too. So when you flip a hopper over, a lot of times they have like a light kind of yellowish belly. And then on the top, I'll just kind of hit it with this other color, which is light camel. And this just kind of makes this look a little bit more realistic too. We can do a little bit on the head. And there you go. You've got a really, really awesome hopper pattern for this summer. This thing will just absolutely smash. If these legs are a little bit longer uneven, you can trim them down, but a lot of steps. I went extra slow for you guys, but you know, you can crank these out pretty quickly once you get in the flow of doing them. So if you're interested in tying one of these guys, you can get all the stuff for it in the shop if you're local here at Caddisfly Shop, or if you are online, you can get all this online at caddisflyshop.com. There should be links in the description down below. Thanks.